Oh. You saw? It's my Boneshatter Slayer. Some pretty nice buffs for Boneshatter Slayer this patch. So guess what I do? I mean, I originally got the build from CARNS, so lucky all me, I'll just go to CARNS stream and it'll be an easy YouTube video, right? I mean, the last one actually did really good. I'll just go to CARNS stream. He's making the POB right now. I'll just wait till it's done and then I can yoink it. I don't have to do any work. It'd be a free huge league starter. And then I could just upload it to maxroll.gg with the leveling, the crafting, and it's all already done. I just need the new POB. Let's go see what CARNS up to. No, just use an axe. CARNS, please. I need this. I'm running out of time. I have so many league starters. I've still got to do Maw of Mischief, Corrupting Fever Champion, which also got buffed, and Vortex Ignite. Never mind all the updating of the Maxroll.gg articles I've got to do. All right, I'm just not gonna do this. Maybe it's really good. It might be really good, but I'm just gonna do the axes. All right, we're just gonna do the axes. All right, Boneshatter. The more you stun, the bigger it gets. Slayer, it does a bunch of damage and it's fast. It does a lot of damage. It gets extra AoE, extra melee strike range. It gets accuracy rating. It gets increased accuracy rating, which is pretty freaking hard to get. And it's got overleech. All right, it's fast. It's got damage. It's got recovery. I'm making sure it's updated with enough defense. If you're playing melee this patch, you're playing Boneshatter. If you're playing melee in 3.21, you are playing Boneshatter. Now, Slayer or Jug, I'll keep it real with you. If you're bad, if you're really bad, you can play Jug. You know, Jug's not bad, okay? But this is soft core, baby. We want to go fast. We want to blast maps. Save that Jug shit for hardcore, okay? This is a soft core league, okay? Oh, and Slayers reflect immune, so you don't have to roll that map mod over while you're starting maps. Pretty snazzy, huh? Now, why am I uploading a new video for Boneshatter other than farming more views, okay? Let's be real. Well, I did maces last time, and I don't think that was the right play. All right, I'll be real. Maces are like a Ashes of the Star kind of thing. You get anomalous, you do lots of stunning, and it's kind of for a stun meme. Right, but axes, that's where the damage is at, dude. That's where the leap slam speed is at. You got combat rush, making your leap slams 20% faster, getting anomalous quality. Now it's 28% more faster. Plus, the mace's stun stuff, we don't really need that anymore. There's some cool new stun stuff on the tree we can take advantage of. A couple nodes changed around. I'm pretty sure that big one that gives 200% increased stun duration is a little bit bait, but I'll see if Karn takes it, and if he does, then I take it too, okay? But for now, that's what I got. What I got is the best melee build that you can league start in 3.21. Because what the fuck else are you going to play? Right? What are you going to play? Are you going to play some Frost Blades? Oh, he's going to do Shockwave Cyclone. Oh, he's got a cool new little Earth Shatter build. All right, let's talk shop. This build play style, to get the most of it, to really squeeze it out, you gotta press a couple buttons on the boss. You put down 2 totems, you drop your brand, and you pop Berserk. If you don't do that, you lose a lot of damage. So just make sure you do that. It's pretty simple. Since we're playing Boneshatter, we can link a Warlord's Mark to a cast when damage taken, and we trigger Warlord's Mark all the time. And when we stun an enemy that's marked, we get 20 rage over 1 second. So that's how we get most of our rage for Boneshatter. You get a little bit from an axe mastery, but not much. For the damage of this build, if you're worried about crafting your axe and all that stuff, don't worry, man. Maxroll.gg article, check it out, okay? It'll be linked below as soon as it's posted. Sometime Wednesday. Full crafting notes, okay? We got the lineup. You guys wouldn't believe it. Tai Killer is doing all the leveling. Spicy Sushi, Crafter Extraordinaire, helping out with some of our bigger crafts. Rimro, with the currency strategies fully updated, fully renovated. We got some crazy new stuff. And we got the homies pumping out, working our fucking asses off to get you guys some of the best league starters, okay? So if you're new, head on over and check it out. Get your handheld all the way through Path of Exile, because raid class is pretty brutal, brother. So how are you leveling this build? Well, I mean, they nerfed the steel skills, but we're still going to use them till at least level 12. You get Helix. It was also nerfed. Helix is still insane. I used it to level CF Champ last league, and that build wasn't even scaling anything with attacks. So you do that until your first lab. You get the strike range, the accuracy, the AoE, and the damage based on proximity. And you can level with Boneshatter from there. It's a little bit worse than just staying with Helix if you swap right away, right? But it's fine, because then you're just playing Boneshatter the whole time. You can get used to the play style, used to the range that it has. You can get comfortable, you can settle in, trickle in. But yeah, there's really not much more to say. I mean, same old Boneshatter. It's just a lot better this league. A little bit because of the new tree, and a little bit more because I'm a better build maker now. I got a little more perspective, did a little bit better of a job. Anyways, why don't we just head on over to the POB and give that goose a gander. All right, Boneshatter. I have 3 POBs here, so you have to come back to the video 3 times. Now, I just don't, I don't have time to put them all into one path of building. If someone wants to do that, feel free. I don't know, I'll put your name in the description, but this is how I did it last league, so I just updated what I had before. First things first, let's start with the leveling. Leveling is pretty easy and pretty generic. If you leveled any melee on a duelist before, you probably leveled this way. You just do splitting steel, chance to bleed. I have to remove Onslaught because ripping Ronies. I don't think anyone's using momentum. I don't know, dude. Level 4, you get Ancestral Protector, Dash. Level 8, you link Maim to it. 10, you replace Dash with Leap Slam. Level 12, you get Helix. So you just use Helix, no more Onslaught. So bye-bye Onslaught. Herald of Ash, Purity, that's a fine. We get the Onslaught buff from the Axe nodes later on anyway for Axe on kill. Level 16, you get Herald of Ash, Herald of Purity, and you want to start using War Banner. War Banner you should have been using this whole time, but that's your new aura setup. And make sure you put War Banner down when you're killing a boss because you get Adrenaline, which is a really big buff. You get Blood Rage as well. You can just put this on left mouse button unless it takes too much life, then just put it somewhere and click it once at the start of every zone. Leap Slam faster attacks is unlocked at level 18. Once you hit Act 3, level 24, you get Poacher's Mark. This is nice. It gives life and mana on hit, gives some damage and frenzy charges as well, only to killed monsters, but this is your setup. Instead of Onslaught, you would use Vicious Projectiles. Now, once you do your normal lab, and you obtain Tribal Fury, not only Tribal Fury, but also Attack Mastery. So these 2 things, which should be around level 31 if you do it early. Otherwise, it'll be a little bit later if you need to wait and be more comfortable. Once you do those, you can swap to Boneshatter. You can be 3 red, 1 green, or you can be 2 red, 2 green. But you really want to make sure that you're using Boneshatter, Ruthless, and Close Combat. And then you can do faster attacks if you feel like your stuff's a little bit too slow, or if you've got the colors for it, or you can go for something like melee physical damage. Now you're going to use some new auras. So you're going to use Grace and Herald of Ash now, dropping Herald of Purity, and not using War Banner for a little bit. At level 42, you get Fortify. As soon as you can, you should use Fortify just to give yourself an easier time. So that'll be a 3 red, 1 green setup. You can do this from 31 as soon as you get that. But from 42 onwards, this is going to be your setup. You got Cast when damage taken with Molten Shell and Warlord's Mark, and you'll have Ancestral Cry on left mouse button. You'll want to wait until 42 for that because you don't want to put Ancestral Cry on left mouse button until you have Called Arms, which makes the War Cry instant. And then you'll have Leap Slam faster attacks, Poacher's Mark, Blood Rage as well, right? And then you'll still have your auras, Grace and Herald of Ash. Now, if you feel a little uncomfortable with the level of defenses that you have, you can rush for the Reservation Efficiency right here, and you can swap Herald of Ash for Determination and Grace plus Determ until you hit your Overleach and start getting your gear all set and figured out. Anyways, that's how you level with the skills. Let's go over the tree really quick. Leveling is super easy and super generic. You just come out, you get some attack speed, you get a little bit of an accuracy rating, you grab Art of the Gladiator right away, and then you can use your dash, eventually using Blood Rage, and then you come and get the 2-hand damage. We're going to path down, and the very first thing you want to rush is going to be Hatchet Master. Once you unlock the Onslaught and Kill, you'll also have access to the Axe Mastery, which will generate your Rage. These 2 things will speed you up a ton, especially now that there's no Onslaught support. Then you can take the Life Mastery, you pick up the Armor, Evasion Rating, and Res to help your gearing out a little bit, and then you're just rushing straight for Tribal Fury, which is an attack cluster, right? The melee strike skills dealing splash damage. That's really nice. But what we really want before we swap Boneshatter is this and Impact. The accuracy rating, the strike range, the AoE, those are going to make Boneshatter feel much more comfortable. And you want to make sure that you grab a decent attack, a decent axe base that has a good attack rate. You don't want the slow axes or it's going to be very uncomfortable. Normal lab Boneshatter swap, and then you're going to start picking up a little damage. You're going to get the War Cry instant thing last. You don't really have to do that too quick, but we're going to get like the attack speed, the stun duration, right? This stuff is just a a classic for Boneshatter. This is just damage, and then you get 10% more max fizz damage. We're going to move up this side, and we're going to rush for Resolute Technique so that you don't need to scale your accuracy anymore, as it's going to get a little too difficult to gear that early on. You're going to get this armor and this endurance charge node for now. We will eventually drop this, but this is just so that you generate some endurance charges, get a little armor, and your physical damage should be pretty decent without determ for a little while. Because when you hit with Boneshatter, you are hit yourself with damage from Boneshatter. So you'll be self-generating endurance charges. This is nice, just extra rage and attack speed and then onslaught effect. And then you'll do your Cruel Lab, and you're gonna get Bane of Legends, which is just damage and damage. We can path a little more efficiently, get the reservation, get some impale chance. This lets us fit in more auras. So at this point, you could do Grace and Determ, or you can just put your War Banner on after you picked those up for now. And then we're gonna branch over and we're gonna get the Leech, preparing for the Overleech, but mainly just so you don't have to have the Mana Flask anymore. You get enough Leech here, and it's pretty comfortable. You can still use your Life Flask as well if you need. But yeah, you would do your Merc Lab. I would save the Vol Pact and stuff for last. I would not spec into Vol Pact until after you've done your Merc Lab, so that you have that Overleech. Because otherwise you just have no regen, and that's kind of painful, man. All right, let's talk about the very first mapping tree. You're just going to unspec the armor and evasion rating / res nodes, and you're going to unspec the endurance charge generating node, because we can get a better one now that we have a little bit more pathing through the tree. We're going to unspec that axe damage, onslaught effect stuff. You're instead going to get the onslaught effect down here instead of the rage node. And we're going to generate our endurance charges through the stun mastery after we pick up this stuff and we path over here for the all res, the armor, the extra life. When you hit maps, one of the really important things to do right away is going to be pathing over here to get the mana mastery for now for the reservation efficiency. And you're going to want the life mastery that makes your skills cost 30%. 30% of your mana cost is going to cost life instead. So it's pretty much 30% less mana cost. It's kind of nice. This is going to free up enough of your mana where the build will be playable. You'll have enough mana where your cast from damage taken can trigger your Warlord Mark and your Molten Shell, and you can Leap Slam and Boneshatter without it being too uncomfortable before the Leech kicks in. Eventually you'll get minus mana, and then you can drop all that stuff, but for now that's the getaway we fix our mana. Other than that, you're just picking up the Impale stuff. You kind of go to Marauder because it's pretty tight. At this point in the build, it's Precise Technique later on, which means you need accuracy, so make sure you're starting to get that accuracy on your gear. But for now, we're still going to be Resolute Technique, so you don't have to worry about accuracy just yet, but keep that in the back of your head. You will need that for later. For the early game gear, you're just going to grab a generic axe. You can do a vendor recipe. If you're following the Maxroll article for leveling, you're going to be doing that the whole time. But the vendor recipe for melee weapons is super important. You just vendor the weapon, a whetstone, and a rare rustic stash or a magic if you're poor. And you're going to get a flat damage axe back. So you do that while leveling. Later on, you just find like anything. Flat fizz and attack speed, craft increased fizz on it. If it has increased fizz and attack speed, craft flat fizz. If it has flat fizz and increased fizz, craft attack speed, right? You want fizz, and attack speed. That's what you're looking for. For this, make sure you're unveiling and getting Corel on your syndicate board so you can craft the fizz taken as fire. That's your Boneshatter damage included. Just get life, res, and for your gloves, the important parts here are going to be Worm Sign. So this gives you reduced mana cost per endurance charge, which is nice because you're still generating endurance charges, and it gives you Rampage. Just keep in mind, socketed gems are supported by level 5 conk effect. So make sure you're not putting like your auras in these gloves or anything like that. You lose your endurance charge when Rampage ends, which kind of sucks, but I mean, hey, you can just get your endurance charges back by just hitting stuff with Boneshatter. The first boot craft that you're going to want to craft is going to be the Cannot Be Chilled one. You don't need Onslaught on Kill since you have Onslaught from the axe nodes. Big important damage here and on gloves later when they're rare is the damage while leeching, because you're leeching all the time, so it's just free damage. Another important unique is Death Rush. Getting Adrenaline on kill makes you super fast and do lots of damage, and you get life on kill. Now, the Adrenaline for 3 seconds is important. If you get 2 seconds, that's fine. 1, it's starting to not really be worth it, but it's still Adrenaline, so screw it, dude. Then just get a Stygian. For the flasks, it's super generic stuff. Evasion rating, attack speed, armor, and reduced effect of curses on a jade, quicksilver, granite, and a quartz flask with reduced effect of curses. All right, for mid-game Boneshatter, now that you've leveled up a little bit more, you're going to be able to path back to this node right here. You're going to be able to path back to Slaughter, get some extra rage and attack speed and whatnot. You're going to be able to get this, which is really good. It's just an Impale Axe Cluster, a lot of damage. And the big thing with this mid-game gear set is precise techniques, okay? Pay attention. You've got to get enough accuracy where your accuracy is higher than your life. That means if you have 4,503 life, you need at least 4,504 accuracy rating. And you can just check that out in your character sheet. The easy way we do that, mainly, is by getting this accuracy wheel and the new accuracy mastery, where you get plus 500 flat, -2 per level, which is still a lot, even when you're level 95. You're going to get some accuracy on your amulet, and you're going to get some accuracy on a ring. If you can do 2 accuracy rolls like that, oh, you need it on another ring too. Emphasize how much you need. Yeah, we're at 5,200. You can also, when you're struggling a little bit, use precision linked with arrogance. Now, this is a low level precision, right? This is level 3. Do not be doing a level 20 precision. That's going to be a lot of accuracy rating, right? Doing that can save you 2 rolls on your gear by just boosting the heck out of your precision. But now you've also cost yourself like 300 life instead of, you know, a paltry 70 with a level 3 precision, which still gives, you know, pretty decent amount of accuracy rating. That's pretty nice. But yeah, that's how we do it. Precise techniques, super important, right? It's like 35% damage. It's 40% more. It's pretty good. For your Uber Lab, you're just getting Headsman, right? It's the 20% Culling Strike. But we changed the tree up a little bit here just so that you have enough to grab everything you need and start to cap suppression. Those are the 2 big things. Precise techniques and suppression capping now. It's okay if you don't hit 100%. It's not all or nothing, as much as some spurs might tell you. I used to think the same way. 70% of the time you take half damage, that's a world of difference. Cute thing with this, precision linked with arrogance, we actually reserve some of our life and mana, so you can get a max res here, you get a max res here, and you get a max res here because all your stuff should have armor since you're an armor and evasion rating character. So make sure all your stuff has armor or don't take that mastery. Then we get like 79, 78 max res. That's pretty nice. Nothing too insane, but it's pretty good. The crafting for this is up on the Maxroll article. So if you need to know how to craft a weapon like this, I would check that out. But you can grab like a fractured base early on too and do it like that. But here it's just going to be suppression, life, res, and craft what you can where you can, following the Eldritch implicits. That's the Gravicious Body Armor Unveil. The big important implicits here are the strike skills target 1 additional nearby enemy and the reduced mana cost of attacks. Those are the 2 big ones. The boots you can kind of ignore. The super important part here is how we are solving our mana. Notice we don't take this stupid node anymore. We still will take the skills cost life instead of 30% of mana cost though. But we can drop that 4 points of waste because we'll get non-channeling skills have minus mana cost on a single ring. That plus the helmet giving us 20 reduced mana cost of attacks makes our Boneshatter only cost 8 mana, and everything else is going to be a-okay as far as links. We'll cover that later. Here, we're going to solve the shock problem by getting 60 reduced effective shock as a craft here. And that's going to be a suffix. So make sure you buy a ring with a suffix open so you can craft that. And then you're going to get a 30 reduced effective shock jewel. These can roll up to 35. So you could be 95 reduced effective shock, but this is going to be better than no reduced effective shock. Boots will give us chill immunity. Brine King gives us freeze immunity. The jewel and the ring craft gives us 90 to 95 reduced effective shock. And our Pantheon, since everybody's going to be farming red altars, is going to be Soul of Abrath. The flasks are going to be just about the same, except since, like I mentioned, everybody's going to be farming red altars, we're going to use a ruby flask here now that we have the chance. Since we don't need a silver flask for Onslaught, because if we have the Onslaught on Kill Axe node, we get to use a ruby flask to help overcap your fire res by a lot to make sure you're safe, and so that you take less fire damage when you choose Fizz's Extra Fire. A really cheap and easy Watcher Eye you can pick up is going to be 25 impale chance. If you're doing this on day 3, you can't buy this. If you're trying to play this build, you're a little bit slower and it's week 1, pushing week 2. These should be pretty cheap, right? But I wouldn't pay more than 1 div, or really I wouldn't even pay 1 div for this. You know, it's kind of just like a cheap mod. If you can't get it, grab something else. You're going to grab like evasion rating chance, even though we don't have that. It's not that good. Just grab like determine fizz reduction and random things like that. You could do pride fizz damage. Just line up the auras, right? Writhing Jar is really good, right? The Writhing Jar here gives you something that you can kill, and I believe it's a unique enemy as well. So you get the 10% more damage here, and you get 10% attack speed and move speed, right? I'm pretty sure it's a unique enemy. So even if it's not, then you lose 10% attack speed, sure. But you get 20% more damage when you hit it. That's pretty good. And it's an instant life flask as well, so you can use it for that effect. As for the skills, they're pretty much the same. I don't think I talked about the skills for early game, but it's pretty much the same as the mid game. Boneshatter, Awaken Melee Fizz. You do this for the Intimidate chance, which is 10% more damage. We're Ruthless for the base stun duration and, you know, the big damage. Fortify, Close Combat, Awaken Brutality. Your weapon doesn't have to be 6-linked. These can be unlinked, except for the Leap Slam and the faster attacks. But you've got Berserk, which you're going to press on bosses or while you're mapping. You get a feel for when you can use it, especially if you know map layouts and where the boss is. Then you just have Blood Rage, Frostblink, right? Leap Slam, Frostblink, a classic. Determine, Pride are your auras. Like we talked about, Precision Grace. You got your 2 totems here plus Maim. You have to do multi-totems so that you can put all these out. And then you can use your Vol Ancestral Warchief for, you know, another melee damage if you want. Cast damage taken, Warlord's Mark, Molten Shell, War Banner. Putting the War Banner down on the boss to proc Adrenaline. All right, for early game mapping skills, Boneshatter, melee fizz damage, Ruthless, Fortify, Brutality, Close Combat. Pretty generic stuff, right? It's like damage, and base stun duration. You generate Fortify, which makes you take less damage. Brutality is just damage, and Close Combat is damage when you're close, and it gives you 20% more attack speed to your Leap Slam. It's really good. None of this has to be linked, except Leap Slam, Faster Attack, and Life Tap. Your Berserk and Blood Rage can be wherever, so you just want 5 sockets on a good weapon. So you'd wait a little bit until you find a good one, but then you put them on. Determ, Pride, War Banner, and Frostblink. And then you've got Maim with multi-totem, so you can put both of these totems down. And then they maim them, so they take 10% increased damage. And we got cast damage taken, Warlord Mark, Molten Shell, and Ancestral Cry on left mouse button. All right, for the end game tree, this is like level 94 or level 98. You've got some money and whatnot. You're starting to get a real juicy build. We start to get the good stuff here. So you're going to get 15% more stun duration mastery, as well as getting like the double stun duration, extra stun duration stuff here with the 2-hand. Like this is really good, but you kind of just have to wait to get all the cool damage stuff until your survival is good enough with everything else. We are starting to get a lot of max res, which is really neat. And you have cap suppression, so you're really starting to ball out here. And the big enabler is an Ool's Uprising. I'd love to be able to solve mana without this, but it's just, I don't know, dude. It's too easy to just be able to put this on. This is really nice. If you can't get this, you can try your hand at, swapping some of the gear around, doing like reservation efficiency, implicit, and then you grab like a warlord amulet that might have like determ reservation efficiency or something. But what you really want is Ool's Uprising to give you free pride and 10 reduced stun and block recovery. The free pride though allows you to use grace, which is really nice. So now you actually have evasion rating that isn't just a jade with evasion rating on it. You have like a real amount of evade chance. You get up to 81% with a +8 evade Watcher Eye. I love using these. It's really good, you guys. Anyways, for the tree, you get a bunch of max res. So now we get to come over here and we're just starting to really ball hard with all the max res. We get max res from this. We're getting max res because all of our stuff has armor. Unfortunately, we don't get the +1 max res here because we're not reserving life with precision anymore because we get enough accuracy from our gear. But yeah, your suppression capped, your max resed out, you got damage out the wazoo with a crafted axe. Checking out the Maxroll article for how to do that. And it's kind of just a lot tighter gear restraints with your suppression and whatnot. Your chest piece, you'd want to grab like fractured suppression. Crafting for this is on Maxroll too. Crafting for everything is on the Maxroll, okay? But there's an essence that gives you onslaught for 6 seconds when hit. And remember, you're hitting yourself. So when you use Boneshatter, boom, you upgrade your gloves to strike 2 targets. You're keeping that reduced effective shock ring, and you're getting at least one of your rings to have minus mana cost on it. And then this is just like a crafted hunter belt, right? So you grab a Stygian Vice, you hunter slam it, you use pristine fossils to get T2 flat and T1% life, or T1, and then you just lock, you reforge chaos. If you hit chaos damage, sick. Now you have a great belt to resell. And then you lock, reforge chaos again. Hopefully everything doesn't fill. Honestly, belts like these are a pain. You don't need the big life. It's just, you know, cool to put it in there for people who to have goals, right? But ideally, this is what you do. Otherwise, just get life, chaos res, and try to get your stats solved here. And then you get a corrupting blood immunity. And then, yeah, same flash as before. Just overcap for your red altars there, and you got the reduced shock effect jewel for 95 now. Your skills are exactly the same, except now you get a divergent Boneshatter to give you extra attack speed based on how many trauma stacks you have. Careful, your trauma ramps pretty fast with this, but it's pretty cool because you go faster, right? So, you know, it's kind of slick. Not gonna lie, get an anomalous close combat. It's really good. 40 increased effective combat rush granted by supported skills. Just means an extra 8% more attack speed on your leap slam. Your body armor, so your weapon's going to be 6 linked now. Your body armor needs to have 6 sockets, but they don't have to be linked, so that's fine. These are exactly the same, except Blood Rage, you're now going to want to buy an anomalous. These are normally like 6-7 divines, so you know, don't buy that really early on. Really don't need to. Frenzy charges are not that good, but eventually. This is the same, it's just Ancestral Protector multi-totem with Maim. And because we only have 1 ring with minus mana, now you need to use an inspiration in your cast win damage taken setup, or your stuff will cost way too much mana, right? We only have 38 mana here, so your Warlord Mark is going to proc, your Molten Shell is going to proc, and that's going to take a lot of your mana. It's a little unfortunate, but that's just how it works. Unless you want to be wasting them points. But yeah, that's Boneshatter in a nutshell. It's the best melee build out there. All right, check it out. Like, subscribe. Let me know if you made it this far. It's so cringe. I don't know, dude. I'm tired. It's like it's 12:40 and I haven't started editing these. So I'll catch you guys later. Peace, homies.